I'm Whitney.
And I'm Melissa.
We are podcast addicts,
Obsessed with true crime.
winos,
Boy moms.
and both live in Texas. Reeling. What are we? How many days off of? 4 days off of CrimeCon?
4 days off of CrimeCon. Yes.
I'm still like jittery and like excited and like overwhelmed.
Every time
we talk about it, I just get like,
yes, exactly. Every time I like relive, like, okay, let me think about this certain aspect of it. I'm like, holy crap, we were there. This is who we talked to, because that was the thing that I think was the most amazing about it. The people that we met.
yes, we met so many people, and not just like regular fans. We met other podcasters. We met people in other countries. Yes, detectives, retired detectives, investigative journalists, like the list goes on and on and on. I think one of my favorite aspects of it, though, the way they had this whole convention set up, I'm just so impressed with the infrastructure that they put into this. You know how nervous you can get kind of with a virtual convention. You think, oh gosh, they're going to have nothing to do. It's just going to be session after session of lectures, people talking to you. And that's not really fun or interactive by any means.
Yeah.
And we all go to CrimeCon to interact, to network, to be with people who are like-minded like us, because people think we're crazy.
Yeah. I did not have high hopes for this. I was like, okay, this is not their original plan. They originally had a CrimeCon planned for Orlando that was obviously canceled because of COVID. And this is something, I'm not saying they threw it together in a day by any means, but
if they did, oh my God, that's amazing.
Oh my God. They did such a good job. I mean, a few months at the most, but it was very well planned.
Yes, it was. They had one of my favorite things was the mystery mingle. And it's basically like chat roulette for our older people. You're on video and you have a minute and a half to talk to someone on the other end of the video. And then you just immediately go to the next person. It was a real quick, like, where you from? Who are you? What do you do? Yeah. We met so many people that way and it was awesome.
So many.
Then we had,
you never know who you're going to get.
Yes.
They talked about, there was some famous people online. Not Payne Lindsay.
Payne wasn't in there, but Paul was there. Paul Holes jumped into some.
Paul Holes, yes.
Yes. Morph, if you know who Morph is, he jumped into some. I just think it's such an awesome little way to go about it. And then of course we had tons of people stop by our podcast booth. So many people, other podcasters that are beyond encouraging. And if that's the only thing we take away is this relationship we formed with other podcasters, just saying, hey, I met you at CrimeCon. You took time out of your day. We talked to a guy named Shane Waters for 45 minutes for what was a very long time. And he has been in the podcast world, 6 years?
6 years. Yep.
He hosts the podcast Foul Play. He's from Indiana. And so of course, Melissa and him kind of got off on this conversation about Delphi because, that's Melissa's favorite. It
was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
They talked about different things. He's been kind of not necessarily involved in the case, but he's talked with the parents or grandparents and some people literally involved with the case. So that was neat to hear his perspective and to talk about how he's been to the bridge and what it looks like and all those things. It was just an amazing conversation. And now he works in conjunction with the people who are doing The Keepers or who did The Keepers on Netflix. They're doing a lot of casework on those cases specifically right now, so it was interesting to hear him talk about them. And he was just so warm and welcoming, and he humble. Had all kinds so much advice for us. Yes. And then
he was
as if
amazing.
As if that wasn't enough, then we had another group of ladies who are much like ourselves, 2 women podcasters. They are the owners, hosts, I don't know what you would really call them. They do a podcast called Women in Crime, which is very similar to ours. It's episodic. They talk about different women involved in crime, which we're not that specific, obviously. In their Women in Crime podcast, that's what they kind of talk about. They also have a second one called Direct Appeal, and they actually interview people who are incarcerated it's more of a deeper dive style podcast, which I'm interested to get into. I haven't got to listen to them yet. We've just, like I said, we're only 4 days post CrimeCon when we're recording this, so it's been a little crazy.
And the list that Yeah, and it's Thanksgiving. Yeah, and the list that we received of like, hey, check out this podcast. Hey, check out this documentary.
Oh my gosh, yes.
We took notes like nobody's business. We did shout outs on our lives like, hey, go check out this one, such as Military Murder. We met the host of that. She does it by herself. She's a mom. She sits in her closet like Whitney. She was amazing. She's been doing it podcasts for over a
while.
Yeah, I think she said at least over a year. Oh, because it was Labor Day or no, Veterans Day when she started.
Veterans Day when she started.
Yes,
but I think one of her first cases was the Vanessa Gillian case in Fort Hood. That was one of her first ones, if not the first ones, before she was even found.
Yes.
So definitely look into that one. Melissa and I, before I moved to Austin, we lived in a military town. So we gave her some insight to maybe a couple of things she can look at in our hometown where the base is. And hopefully she'll do one. That would be awesome if she did one.
It would be. She was super sweet.
She was. I really enjoyed talking to her. And again, she took time out of her day to stop by. Who else? There was, we can't even like name everybody. It was so much.
So many. Another exciting thing, we were in a Q&A with Payne Lindsay. He did answer one of our questions, so that was very, very exciting.
Basically we talked to Payne Lindsay, guys. We talked to Payne Lindsay. Basically.
Yeah. And Payne Lindsay is like the tip top of the true crime world.
Yes.
Yeah, he's the tippy top. He's so young though. Like
he is so young, and he is not anything what I am pictured him. He's got this platinum blonde hair. He's really good looking.
He is good looking.
He should that's not what I pictured. I don't know what I pictured, but I pictured someone older, like mid-30s. He's got to be in his 20s. He's very young.
He has to be in his 20s. Yeah. For an investigative journalist, as in my opinion, as successful as he is, he's done some stuff in his lifetime. That's all I have to say. Like he is. Yeah. It could just be his voice though, too.
It could be.
He has one of those very distinctive voices.
And he talked about his newest podcast, which is Dead and Gone, which is about the Deadhead murders, revolving around the Grateful Dead. He is partnering with a guy named Jake. I believe his last name is Brennan, but again, I haven't read my notes, but I'm pretty sure it's Jake Brennan, and I know that Melissa doesn't remember.
There were so many people, I barely remember Whitney's name.
But they kind of talked about their new podcast and the investigations that are ongoing with it still. They're still working on it. So that was really cool. And then we listened to, we got to sit in on Paul Holz's session, which was, of course, my favorite. Yes. And he talked about a case that still currently haunts him. He worked it in the early, late 90s, early 2000s. I believe it's happened in 1999 is when the case occurred.
In California.
In California. It's about Eamon Bodman, and I don't know why.
Do you just pull these names? Like
I have no notes right now. I have no notes right now, and I don't know how I remember that.
That's insane. Superpower.
Yeah, that's my superpower, is remembering random stuff, but not what I had for lunch yesterday. So anyway, he talked about his case. We got to see some crime scene footage from that case, which was very interesting. There's a lot of blood splatter and bug activity that's really a part of their case, which is kind of the gross part of investigation. But knowing that the different stages of larva and all those kinds of things that really play into things, again, going back to the bones, watching Bones and the bug guy and all that, it's very interesting to see that. So he's coming out with an audio book. It's not really an audio book, it's an Audible special, I guess. I think he said it's going to be it's going to be in like episodes, I believe, or chapters, whatever they call it on Audible. I'm not on Audible, so forgive me. But if you want to sponsor us, call us.
We will totally start using Audible.
We will totally start using Audible. My husband uses it. I just don't ever use it.
I've used it once or twice.
It comes out January 14th. I don't know what it's called, just that it's about Eamon Bodman.
Yes. And it's by Paul Holz.
And it's with Paul Holz, yes.
I think there might be someone else with him doing it.
I think so too. Listen, if he narrates it, I'm in all day.
Yes. Real quick question. Did you listen to the Paul Holz with True Crime Garage?
I listened to part 1. Part 2 just downloaded. I saw this morning on my phone.
Okay. It's so like,
good.
I was going to sleep to it the other night, and It's so funny how like the captain will be like, "Oh yeah, not all of us could be as good looking as you, Paul."
So if you haven't listened to that episode, you should,
they're
because
our favorites.
yeah, it's on the Murder Squad. I don't know if they've released on True Crime Garage. I just
They
listened
did
to it
not.
Okay. So it's Jensen and Hole's The Murder Squad, and it's about the disappearance of Brian Schaefer with True Crime Garage. Right now there's 2 parts. I don't know if they're going to do any more because, like I said, I haven't listened to part 2 yet. But it's like my world and Melissa's world have collided, and it's like all that we could have ever imagined to have Paul Holes and the captain on one episode. Yeah.
True Crime Garage was not at CrimeCon this year. I'm like, they better not think they're too big. So I'm hoping in Austin that they go to Austin.
I hope so too. We'll just have to like spam them with emails like, hey, can y'all please come? This is you're why we started, you know?
Yeah. This is where I'm at in my life.
Yes.
But yeah, so CrimeCon was amazing. Yep, we have so many ideas. We're finalizing our plans for season 2.
Yeah.
We're not gonna let anyone know what it's gonna be about yet, but just know there's some good things in the works, and we are very excited.
I believe it'll be March when season 2 comes out. Because we go through to mid-February to late February with our current travels, with our current journey across America. And then I believe we're going to take 1 week break, and then we will jump right into season 2. So we're not going to leave you hanging for long. That's our current goal. Yeah,
you never know though what might pop up, and might have a bonus or a special. Who knows?
Yep. And know that we will also be at CrimeCon in Austin in June. Because we've already booked our hotel, so there's no going back now.
Yep. One way or another, we will be there.
We will be there. Even if we're not actually in the convention, if we're standing outside the convention just waving at people, we will be there.
Yeah. I know you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine. Whatever happens, it's fine.
Whatever happens, happens.
All right.
So my wine is
I already forgot
Murphy
about wine.
Good. You forgot about wine already. Mine is called Murphy Good. It's funny that I picked this because we had talked about in one of our sessions about how there's a lot of people with the last name Peterson that are not good people or are murderers. Michael Peterson, Scott Peterson,
Drew the other Peterson?
Drew Peterson. But there's a lot of good people in the crime community with the last name Murphy. So I picked this one because it jumped out at me. It is a Sauv Blanc made in California. It was family owned on the north coast of California. It's good. It's lemony, orangey, and pearish. Lemon, orange, and pear. So there's a lot of citrus in there. I like it. It's pretty dry. It's not overly sweet. It was a good one.
Okay. What's your rating?
Oh, I'll give it 4 knives out of 5.
Okay. Nice. Okay, so I have today something I haven't tried before. It's still a Pinot Grigio, but it's the Boda box, which they just sell this at Walmart. I've seen it in multiple places that I've bought wine at. It is a Pinot Grigio. It does say it's an award-winning wine in eco-friendly portable packaging. They say if you're going on an adventure, take this box of wine.
Does it have a handle on the top of it? Like, can you carry it?
It does. It does.
Woo-hoo! Look at that. Yes. So it's like the perfect wine for hiking.
Exactly. They say kayaking to take it. I mean, it's obviously from California. Not obviously, but most wines are from California. And it's like, take it to the beach. If you're going bike riding, I don't know how you would take it, but there is a picture. Here, let me show you guys. Picture of a guy riding a bike.
You strap it to your back, or you put it into a camel, like you put a straw, like a camelback. I mean, isn't that how everybody bikes these days with wine?
Of course. So yeah, it is made, the box is obviously made out of 100% recyclable materials. It's all about being eco-friendly, and it pairs well with everything, it says. It does say the best things come in small packages. My Boda box makes me happy. That is what Sharon White had said. And she got on the box. I think I could come up with something better to become on the box.
Maybe she's like an owner, though.
I will have to look into that. But yes, I would probably give it a 3.5 knives. Only because I like it. It's definitely a little fruity. It is pretty common though, as far as Pinot Grigio. It doesn't like jump out at me like some other brands might.
Okay. That's good. Good to know.
All right.
Okay. So if we just want to go ahead and jump in our car and get on this on this road, on this journey, whatever.
On this journey.
Yeah, on this journey. So we start with Mississippi, which is me.
Want to hear more? Go to any podcast platform. That's Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and you can hear the rest of this episode.